I have thought for the last 2 years that this event was a Mandela effect, but after finding this sub, I am starting to think maybe it was a glitch. Anyone else have something so blatant happen? I'm hesitant to tell this story. No one believes it, even my husband who saw the whole thing, but here we go. My neighbors directly across the street from me, they're married and expecting a baby. The wife is a tiny blonde woman, very Caucasian, very tiny build. We wave to each other daily and yell salutations across the street. She goes into labor and they leave for the hospital. A week later, I see the car has returned, so I bake some cookies to take over and congratulate them. What a good neighbor. Another day or two goes by, and I see a thick brunette lady outside with a baby, and I wave, assuming it's a relative that's come to help with the newborn. A few more days pass, and I see the husband outside with the brunette and the baby, so I take the cookies over. It's her. It's the wife. Same name, same personality, and same demeanor, except now she's a thick, kinda tall brunette Pacific Islander. The husband doesn't acknowledge any difference. She talks to me and treats me the way she always has, but it's a totally different person. My husband noticed as well. We made some jokes about him wife swapping at the hospital, but since he can't wrap his brain around it, he starts to believe that she's always been this person, even though he clearly remembers her teeny and blonde. I feel like everyone has lost their minds. It's been almost 2 years since that shift, and she's still a thick, tall brunette.
Dude.
And then I feel like maybe I've lost my mind. My only consolation is that my husband remembers it too, if only vaguely.
Dude, I see Caucasian people.
Update number 1. So I showed the picture I found to her. So she found a picture. So this all happens, and of course everybody jumps into bake. What is going on in this situation? They ask if she has any pictures of this woman, of her neighbor, from what she believes she originally looked like. And she found this picture from a church group where the woman looks like how she remembered. So update number 1. So I showed the picture I found of her to my husband last night. He's a little bit of a mess about it. The man is not a conspiracy guy at all, but he remembered her. He started asking some questions and tossing around ideas about what could have happened. I convinced him to go to the church this morning and attend their service. I spoke briefly with the pastor and said my neighbor had recommended that I attend. He was grateful she was sending people his way, even though, get this, she hadn't attended since she had the baby. She apparently changed churches to one a little closer when she gave birth, so I don't know where to go next except for putting some feelers out in the neighborhood and finding an excuse to hang out with her.
I would just go up to this person and show her this blonde Caucasian person. Is this you?
Get ready. Update number 2. I'm sorry that took so long. I didn't want to update until I had spoken directly to my neighbor. So I endured the heat all week and spent way too much on flowers to plant in an attempt to run into my neighbors. The old lady next door doesn't remember the neighbor's wife having blonde hair, but her middle-aged daughter does. She said, yeah, that was a couple years ago. I don't know why she went so dark. I thought it would wash her out. When I pointed out that it wouldn't wash her out because her complexion is tan now, she looked confused and said that maybe she had been tanning because she did look darker. I pushed it a little further and asked if she also seemed taller, but she seemed stuck on the fact that the very Caucasian blonde woman had gotten tan enough for such dark hair to look natural. She gave me several reasons, but didn't seem convinced either. I also spoke to the changed lady's next-door neighbor and mentioned her having blonde hair. Neither he nor his wife remembered her ever being blonde. They both agreed she had dark hair on move-in day. Yesterday, I finally cornered changed neighbor lady outside.
Dude.
She pulled up with groceries, and I offered to help carry them with her. I started talking about the church and how I had spoken with the pastor. She said some really nice stuff about the church, but also that she needed a church closer. That's why she had switched. When I pointed out that her new church was actually farther away, she said she had never actually measured it, but it seemed closer. I pointed out that her old church was in our town, and her new church is in the next town over, and she said the back roads just make it seem shorter. Some red flags popped up here because the back roads around here are long, windy roads that circle around our town and pass by all the farmland. It doesn't ever make things quicker. It's a nicer drive, sure, but it always adds a good chunk to the drive time. Also, the new church is in the middle of the town, 2 streets over from Main Street. So, if you take the back roads, you actually have to circle back to get on the main roads to get to it anyway. It would be much more convenient to take a direct route using the town roads that connect the 2 towns. It's almost a straight shot from the middle of our town to the next town over. I don't know why that bothered me, but it did. After a little while of small talk, I brought up the hair. I said that I was trying to go blonde to hide some gray that I have coming in, and did she have any tips? She laughed and said the last time she was blonde, she was in high school, and it was a mess, so she didn't recommend it. I pointed out that she was blonde right before having her baby, and she got really weird, almost defensive, and said she hadn't. She had only tried to go blonde that one time in high school, and it turned orange, so she dyed it back immediately. I told her I chalked it up to pregnancy brain because she was definitely blonde while she was pregnant. She ended the conversation shortly after and thanked me for my help, but you could tell she was annoyed with me.
What, dude? This woman is like measuring skulls and like checking the neighbor and like being like, has the property value gone down? I didn't agree to live next to somebody who isn't Caucasian. What the fuck is happening? This is the most. Oh my God.
So guys, not super sure what I've learned other than the girl next door to me, old lady's daughter, and I are going to have another chat. She made me feel like she remembered, but she couldn't wrap her head around it. I'm going back to the church on Sunday to poke around and talk to some more people.
Dude.
Any more ideas?
Never live next to someone who's on Reddit. That
Yes.
is the fucking answer here. These people are insane.
Just how bored do you have to be in your own life to go? I mean, this sounds like a crusade that went on for years. At one point in the post, she says it's been 2 years after they had the baby. So this woman is sitting, looking out her window going, what's changed? Is it, I remember her different.
Yeah, this is like, this really is a 21st century version of Rear Window, which
Yes.
but instead of someone being murdered, someone doesn't appear like you remembered, and so you're trying to investigate what the hell is going on. Except in Rear Window, he had the excuse of, being confined to his bedroom by disability. In this case, you're just confined to his bedroom by internet brain. They're just, you're stuck into the Reddit and you can't let it go, and you're letting it radicalize you slowly. That's the 21st version of Rear Window.
And the amazing thing is that this woman, she didn't just straight up go up to the person and be like, hey, I'm losing my mind, I think. Like, I thought you looked totally different, but then after you had the...
Or show her the picture.
Yeah, or show her the picture or whatever. But instead, she's going to the flower store, she's buying flowers, she's staying outside in hopes that they run into her. She offers to help carry the groceries, so that maybe she can glean.
God.
She's playing detective, and I'll tell you what, guys, the replies to this story are not helping, because one of the most popular replies says this: some federal agents are in undercover marriages. Maybe they needed to switch one with their bio partner as maternity leave. Maybe it was a case of they switched from their assigned partner to keep it somewhat plausible. Who cares if you sound a little insane? Rather than no pregnant wife and then bam, baby shows up out of nowhere. That would be more noticeable to blow their cover.
What?
And then the person below that writes, this. I surmise that this is what went down. Man, if I was OP, I'd figure out some way to invite the woman over to my home. Once she was inside, I'd just flat out say, quote, hey, so I know for sure that you aren't the same woman who lived here before. I'm not a dumbass.
Dude.
If she's a cop, you will simply be killed or incarcerated or have your memory wiped
What?
or the couple will move. But that's just my insane truth or die approach.
Oh, no. Don't do any of these things. Leave your neighbors alone, you fucking Reddit-brained idiots.
Yeah, if your neighbor looks different, move on with your life.
Yes. Find something else to do than try to trap them over in your home.
Look, my wife and I, I'm not going to lie. We gained quite a bit of weight during COVID. There might be a glitch in the matrix subreddit user across the street that's like, man, when they moved in, it was a very attractive in-shape couple, and now they've been replaced by two thick people. I started taking hair pills at the beginning of the pandemic, and as a result, many of my bald spots have grown in. So maybe there's a subreddit post. Yeah, when he moved in, he was basically totally bald, but now when I see him, he's got hair on top of his head. I wonder, it's got to be some sort of federal agent.
I think, as usual, these episodes are covering Jake's brain.
Yeah, so?
Nothing. It's a nice brain.
Everybody wants a
Covered
peek
by
inside
luscious
the
hair.
madness. Yeah, everybody wants a little peek inside the madness every now and again.
Are we sure the hair pills don't make the hair grow down into the brain?
like roots of an old tree, just like completely messing with the frontal cortex. My next story is from Outride, and the title is Pretty Sure My College Friends Switched Timelines from the One Where We Hooked Up.
Oh my! I'm not. I'm not. I don't feel good about this one already.
You have been listening to a sample of a premium episode of QAnon Anonymous.
We don't run any advertising on the show, and we'd like to keep it that way.
For $5 a month, you'll get access to this episode, a new one each week, and our entire library of premium episodes.
So head on over to patreon.com/QAnon Anonymous and subscribe.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I love you.
Jake loves you.